Alrighty, so today we are here with Jessica Chandler, MSW. She is a survivor of the foster care system, and she's here to tell us how she did that.
All right, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Good. Nice to have you, Jessica. So can you describe your experiences in the foster care system for me?
So I was in care from age 12 to 18, mostly through probation. So my case was considered child abandonment because after I did my time in placement in juvenile hall, I would go to court and no one would show up. So they would just give me another 6 months, which in turn I would usually run away from the placement because I'd be angry and upset, miss my family, and that's gonna be a big thing. And then, and then, end up coming back in the juvenile hall and being put back into another 6 month placement. But always through probation because like I said, entered from breaking the law. So, yeah, I bounced around a lot. I want to say that by the time I graduated high school, I had already attended 13 of them. And
13 schools or 13 high schools?
just 13 high schools.
Okay.
Who knows how many schools I've been to altogether.
Right.
Because prior to even going into foster care, my family moved a lot.
Okay.
A lot. So, yeah. So mostly just a lot of bouncing around. That was my experience, and just always trying to ground myself and figure out who I was, where I belonged, and what my purpose was until I turned 18. So.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. What, if any, would you say contributed to you choosing a career in social work?
So I never wanted to be a social worker. I actually grew up hating social workers and probation officers. I thought they were evil people and bullies because they knew that, I didn't have an advocate, and a lot of the other girls that I was placed with didn't have anyone to advocate for them, and I felt like they took advantage of that. And, I just never really met too many people who I thought really cared about the kids, and I feel like we were really needy. However, I went to school kind of on just a hope and a dream. I didn't think I was going to be good at it, and I didn't even think I was smart enough to go or deserving, given all the bad things I had done by the time I was 18. But while I was on that journey, I was taking psychology courses and learning about the human brain. I was always very interested in why people did the things they did, because I was always very curious about my mom, very curious about the men in my life who kind of, I feel like I did everything right, and they still kind of walked away or very mean to me. And I just was very curious why people did things they did. And I kind of, during that time, thought that maybe I wanted to be a therapist. I had a really good therapist when I was 16, actually at our placement.
Okay.
I forgot his name, Ken or something. And it was a guy, we had a therapist that was actually really nice at that placement. I feel like, and he was black. And I remember thinking that, just seeing someone the same color as me who was in a position of power, I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought that it was inspiring for me. It made me feel empowered even when I would go just to our weekly sessions. So like, I'm going to be a therapist. And then, while I want to say my senior year of undergrad, I was like, I'm just going to become an attorney. My little sister at the time had an open case with DCFS. Her son had been detained. I felt like she was having a really hard time navigating the system to get her son back, and didn't really understand the rules. And I just felt like a lot of it, like, I didn't really understand. So I was like, I'm just going to become an attorney so I can kind of make sure that my family's straight. We don't get taken advantage of, and make sure that I sue the department all the time. Anytime they make a mistake, I'm going to make sure they suffer. I'm tired of being like a silent victim.
Yeah.
Feeling like people are just getting away with stuff. People are going to pay. And when I was sharing that with some of my mentors, they decided to do a brown bag for me.
Okay.
I want to say this, at the beginning of my senior year. And during the brown bag, they had social workers, they had attorneys, they had therapists, all kind of people at the Alliance for Children's Rights, which is a non-public law firm in LA County.
Okay.
And when people were sharing the pros and cons of each field, it came up that if I became an attorney, that I would have to keep certain things confidential, like molestations and abuse and things that I can't keep. Not only can I keep a secret, I'll probably go to jail for finding out.
Right.
You told the wrong person.
Right.
So it wasn't a good career path for me. But they also, I realized that a social worker that worked there, Barbara Fasher, since she worked at a law firm, she would always be calling the department saying, hey, what's going on with these benefits, or why isn't this kid receiving such and such, or why hasn't this caregiver been provided this, and why doesn't this child get braces? And because she would say, I'm calling from the Alliance for Children's Rights, they will move. So they're showing me there was other ways, even as a social worker, you could be an advocate, but also, I had such a bad stigma. I was becoming a big advocate at the time. I had already, at 18, been kind of, walked into this world where I was allowed to lobby and advocate for legislation, like right off, like literally right out the box, right at 18 years old, through this nonprofit. They were a huge stakeholder with child welfare and juvenile justice. Okay. And they had created a youth council, and one of our biggest things was making sure that we lobbied, and we went to Sacramento and we did things to make sure that we saw the changes that we wanted to see, right. And that the things that happened to us, make sure that they were different for the next generation. So, as an advocate, it was explained to me very roughly that, you can't really be a true advocate if you don't know where the other side is coming from, right. Which means you haven't walked in their shoes. You only know your experience as an individual right. person. Right. Maybe some of your friends share your experience. Maybe we have a similar experience, but you don't know the other side. You can't really advocate if you don't know what the challenges are, what the right. bureaucracy is right. behind it, what the funding issues are. And so even if you don't want to be a social worker for the rest of your life, Jessica, you need to figure out what really is going wrong. Is it a bunch of evil people in the department and Child Protective Services who want to snatch babies in the middle of the night and hurt people, or is there something else going on? Maybe you're right, or maybe there's more, but the goal as an advocate is to get the truth and to help healing, right, facilitate right. healing. So I decided to go for my MSW.
Same thing. You have to hold confidentiality. Yeah. Ironically enough, right?
It was kind of crappy, and I had a lot of pushback when I went into the program. People didn't want to hear. My teachers, professors wanted me kicked out of the program. They didn't want to hear what I had to say. They thought I was plagiarizing a lot of time the work that I would do. But it was my truth. It was my perspective and my lived experience, and I could articulate it in a way that people did not believe actually came from me. Yeah. They thought it was coming out of a textbook, but come to find out later on, I actually am the bomb. Yeah. This is actually in me. These words, this inspiration, the in-depth, the consciousness, the critical thinking is here, regardless of, where I came from. Right. And so now, as a social worker working in child protection, it's been very empowering to be able to use the experiences that I have overcome to help others, but also very humbling to find out that there was a lot of bureaucracy and red tape, a lot of people in power who are making the rules and decisions that impact me as a worker, the power that I have to change lives and to, do a good job. Right. So I can, and also, just self-determination. People are at different places in their walk, in their journey. Everyone's not sick and tired. Just because I'm sick and tired of seeing you come in here from using, so I'm sick and tired of seeing your children come into the system, foster home, doesn't mean that they're where they need to be in their journey to really go through the pain and the trauma of being free. And I know that sounds crazy, trauma and pain, but they suffer to get clean.
It's real.
It's almost like they're shedding a complete identity.
Yeah.
And they just got to be ready. So you can want something for somebody and still see that case fail because it's not the time. Like everything has to line up at the right time. Right. So that's where I am now. I'm still doing it. It's been okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Very detailed, in-depth answer. We need that. We need that. In your time spent around in the Black community where there were foster children, impoverished neighborhoods and things like that, the hood, so to speak, what disparities do you feel were projected from within the Black community?
Projected from within the Black community. So I want to say that there's this idea that we can only do so much. I remember when I decided that I was going to even enroll in community college, it was like, you're doing too much. You know, look, I remember my older sister had already taught me how to enroll in welfare, how to, you know, access certain benefits. You know, when you get the baby, you're going to get on resource and some child care. Yeah, you're going to learn how to, this how you get your Medi-Cal. So they were already teaching me how to navigate my existence, right? Navigate poverty to make sure I had child care, I could get a little job, be able to get some money coming in, maybe get a family member, somebody babysitting, I'll split the check for the child care, or I was already learning the ropes. So when I decided that, you know, I wanted to do something different, it was kind of like,
you think you better?
Like, what are you doing? It's like, and then it's like, it's not going to work, so it's almost like, we don't want you to be disappointed. Like, this isn't for us. It was such, people had internalized. I remember even my own mom, she was like, you know, Jessica, maybe you should just focus on getting a job. When I got pregnant with my first son, like, focus on getting a job, you know, and being a good mom. It's not fair, you know, for you to be selfish anymore. You can't be selfish anymore. And for her, going to school meant that I was being selfish. And so, and it just was a different perspective than, I want to say, once I started meeting the people at the Line for Children's Rights who were, you know, rainbow colors, right? A lot of them didn't look like me or come from backgrounds like me, and they're more like, it doesn't matter how many kids you have. I have friends who went to law school, or, you know, became doctors, or became all kinds of things, and they had multiple kids. They were like, you can do anything. So it's, you know, this self-efficacy, you know, or lack of self-efficacy that was being projected about who I was as a person. And it wasn't even about color, just in this melting pot, and, you know, in the neighborhood I was from, everyone believed only so much about themselves. And the goals were to just be able to have if you had housing, a car, and name brand clothes, well, and for women, maybe some nice hair and weave, and nails. You were successful, or at least that was the image of success. When you pulled up in your little hoop, you don't have no rims on it. If you pulled up and your hair was whipped,
don't let it have a little music.
When you step out of that, when you step out of that ride with your fresh nails in your hair, guess what you gonna get? Girl, look at Jessica. She on her shit. Ain't got no damn job, maybe. No one even asked you where you work at.
No one cares.
Forget a credit score. You don't have no degree or no, you know, literally whatever was on the outside was who I was. So so a lot of people, just for the birthday party, bought an outfit. I remember we used to go to the swap meet and got an outfit just for that day.
Just for that day. You could never wear it again.
But the day before, boom.
Total.
Nothing to wear, this and that hair.
No money.
I would spend my last money on that hair, those nails, some fake bamboo earrings, just to show up and get that celebration.
And that image.
And you would get a whole celebration. You was on your stuff that day at that party, that wedding, that whatever it was. You was all that. And it just taught you that what was on the outside was so much more important than the truth. Forget what's on the inside. Forget morals and values. The truth didn't matter. The truth, even though, and we would go home and we didn't have to be depressed or sad that we were actually, you know, bums or not doing that well, because it wasn't about morals and values. It was about, we did that. They think I'm
just a few minutes ago.
And we actually go on through our life waiting for the next event to show up.
So we can go buy that outfit.
They're like, what? And you just go through life getting by. And your whole existence is getting by. And that's acceptable. There's no depression attached to that. It's not until you start getting around other people and start wanting different things, or you find yourself in a situation where you need some money to save your mama house that that great grandma passed down, and y'all just been paying the taxes on forever, and you didn't know, and you just thought life was free, or you know, the Section 8, you know, go bad, or someone loses low income. Like, it's not until everything's shattered and they're like, well, we need to run someone's credit score. Oh, well, where do you work at? It's not until something shakes that it's like, what? This is important? So you tell me great grandma had that? Yeah, great grandma had that. And you just been paying the taxes, and Bobo ain't paid taxes in 3 years. Your uncle y'all just been living. So your whole world gets listen. And then we like, oh, who got a good job? Who got a credit score? Who got this and that? Or someone gets sick, God forbid, someone gets cancer or something. And we need to cut the loan for this and that. Or hey, that's when we're like, oh my God, we have none of the assets needed
that we're supposed to have.
To survive. And then the depression stuff sits in when we can't compete to survive. Because now it's still limited, you know, access to things for everybody out here. You know, this isn't a fair country. There's 1% that runs the stuff, you know?
You would say that living was easy, but surviving was half the battle.
Well, I would say that we weren't living, that we were only surviving, but it was we made it acceptable because our heroes, as long as we can match them when it mattered, which behind closed doors we could be toxic and terrible people out there for our kids, on drugs or whatever, but as long as when it was time to show up at that event, that gathering, that Thanksgiving, whatever it may be, and we looked like LL Cool J, or we looked like Tupac, or we looked like Beyonce, or we looked like whoever it was that was on at the time, we were successful.
Yeah.
And then we could go back into our existence and underneath our rocks and continue to age. And we raised kids that was it. Yeah. I really met so many kids that they're just like, I can't go out, they can't even go get a job if they don't have certain things. Yeah. It's like, this ain't a party, bro.
Right.
This is a job interview.
Real life, yeah.
Oh, I ain't going to school tomorrow because I ain't got nothing to wear. You know how many days I missed at school because I didn't have something nice to wear? I started stealing. The reason why I went into care at 12 years old, because I was caught stealing from a store. And I was caught stealing food that time, but many times I was in the store for clothes and underwear and shoes and you name it.
Right.
I wouldn't be caught dead at learning in a classroom.
Right.
Without a nice outfit.
Right.
I could not be caught dead. I'm telling you, you was not about to catch me slipping learning.
Right.
Without an outfit.
Looking like a bomb.
Listen, or if I didn't have enough black gel to slip down the edge, or my baby
hair. Yeah.
I used to wear a swoop.
I did too. Listen.
If I didn't have any gel, Jessica wasn't going to school. So it was it was not about morals and values. It was it was a facade. It was this trick, that we were living in.
Yeah.
And then I just grew up.
Right.
And until other people came and started telling me that, in order to have a house, you got to have this, and that, and this would have had to been 20 years ago that someone would have started building this for you, and at 18 you're not born with credit, you actually have bad credit.
Right, you're a ghost.
Like what? And then you don't have a mom or a dad or Auntie Susu or nothing. So you tell me I got all these generational bums in my family who probably didn't use my credit, so I even got negative credit at 18. Right. But they done got a car in my name, a couple cell phones, something else. So it's like you start off at a negative. By the time you realize that what you need, our society, our little bubble of us have fully endorsed that it's okay to not be nothing but a part-time actress or actor. Right. And that's it. And even then when they get older, they don't want to come to terms with the fact that they're bums or they're not successful. So they continue to, look at little Bobo, he a player. Right. So even though
they're perpetuating it. Yeah. They perpetuate it.
Because they don't want to be held accountable and feel worthless either because it's too late for them.
Yeah, exactly. So they vicariously live through that little boy, however.
Endorse that nonsense.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the biggest thing. It's who we are, how to get by, what is success, all those messages about what we need to be successful. And then you get the crime and the rappers and the drug dealers. That comes from the image and who's the best image at the cookout. It's still about the cookout. Yeah. No matter if they selling drugs, no matter if they stealing, all of it is about the cookout. When I say cookout, that can be Thanksgiving.
Anything.
That could be the birthday party.
It could be the house party next door.
They just want to pull up. Yeah. And when they're shopping for the base. Yep. Or for the color of their new car or the rims, they're imagining themselves, not in their house, how comfortable they'll be. They're imagining all the girls and all the people and all the family who are praising them at that event. Yeah. They're not thinking about when I go home because their homes be roach infested. Yeah. They don't have nice underwear and socks underneath the Jordans. So all this money that they finally got. Still don't know how to dress, don't know how to clean themselves, don't know how to cook for themselves. Right. They're not comfortable. They got to pay other people to do things for them. Right. So they're at a point where they take negative attention over none at all. So if this is what's at home, rats, roaches, and things like that, we know. We ain't learned about that shit. Yeah. We already accepted and endorsed that. We live here. Right. This is our house. This is our home. And even when they move out, they still look like the same way. Yeah, nothing changes. Most of them, yes. Nothing changes. Yeah, so that's the biggest facade, is that you can be happy and to please other people. You know what I mean? So many places. This is probably the first time that I've lived somewhere where my focus has been on my comfort. Now, my guests, when they come over, they're gonna see what the hood. I got the flat screen. Yeah. It's about me. I don't even have a TV in my bedroom because I don't watch TV. Yeah. It's a distraction for me. I'm trying to get rich. Right. And I get addicted real fast to it. So, Yeah, this is the first time I realized that when I come home, it's supposed to be about peace and shutting down, and I don't want to answer people's calls.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's my biggest thing that I would say about that.
All right, let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
As an MSW of about 6-7 years.
Going on 6 years, yeah.
Do you believe that intensive services such as like a wraparound program could mend some of the mental health issues in the Black community? So particularly if we took a subsection of these communities that we've been in and, for a pilot program said, let's put them here and give them these kinds of services. So in turn that we could erase some of what we're talking about now, or at least decrease. Yes.
I mean, it would be interesting because it would be kind of like the idea what they wanted to do with the Native Americans and put them in like some type of concentration camp or boarding school. But the truth is, the only way to really, learn something new, they say that if you want to learn a new language, you have to immerse yourself in that language and that culture. And to break something so, internalized from us, we would have to take them out of their physical environment, I think.
Yeah.
And re-educate them. And I actually had a similar idea where we would, as a alternative to detaining Black children, particularly those who are former foster youth, which means that we took you from your mom because she wasn't good enough, and now we're taking your kid. That means we failed to break the cycle.
Right.
So instead of punishing you for us failing you by taking your child, because you've learned the same coping mechanisms and strategies as your parent,
mother, exactly.
Which the whole point of us taking you from her was to prevent that.
Right.
Right? And prevent harm to you.
Right.
Instead of detaining your baby, maybe we allow you to come into do your whatever the court orders, whether that's still substance abuse treatment program for 6 months or whether that's domestic, whatever it may be that they're ordering, that you can do it in this setting where you can be educated on just, the historical trauma, the Black experience. You need to learn a little bit about slavery. You need to know why am I such a fuck up? That's what a lot of parents tell me all the time. Yeah. Why am I so this? They have internalized being worthless.
Right.
And no good.
Right.
And because the biggest hurt you can experience is losing your kids. I don't care how bad of a crackhead or meth head or whatever you want to call these people.
It still feels.
That is not their intention.
Yeah.
Is to hurt in that way or to have their children suffer with that.
Right.
It's just in the numbing process.
That they make decisions.
Got lost.
Yeah.
Things got forsaken, right? So, it's so funny. So, I think that would be a good opportunity for people who have their backs up against the wall. It wouldn't be something that we could force implementation on, but I think if moms had a choice not to lose their kids, they could be in a safe space where they wouldn't have to worry about housing.
Yes.
They wouldn't have to worry about food. They wouldn't have to worry about child care. They wouldn't. We could do all that, and then we could come in there and teach them what transformation looks like, show them examples of that, speak life into them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. And then if they fail, at least we know for sure that we ourselves they've had the opportunity. Because I don't trust that all the kids that look like me or you who've gone to foster care have been given all the tools and resources that need to make good decisions. People are still gonna make whatever decision they make. Right. But have they all been given the information so that they can choose? I don't believe that. And for me, I just, as someone who's on the other end of it now, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that everyone has had an equal opportunity to fail themselves. Right. Not us fail you. You need to fail yourself. Right. And then if they go out and whatever
with the same tools and still do the same thing, then that's just on them.
But I can live with that. Yeah. But the idea behind it is that we owe you. Because there's no data that shows that kids that come to foster care are better off than the general population. Right. That means that the kids that stay in projects next door to you
are better off than someone who came out of
because they're
foster
learning
care.
How to exchange milk for some bread, and they know don't go on that corner on 42nd 3rd because they shooting over there. Hey, the police is hot right here. They learn how to navigate their environment. They learn how to navigate poverty they're born into. And when they come out of foster care, they're not rich. We don't give them a get out of jail free card. No. We don't give them a get out of poverty free card. Here's $1 million. You're in foster care. Congratulations. They go right back home and find their mama, their daddy, their auntie Lulu, brother Poo Poo. They right back in the projects.
If they have that.
If they have that.
Yeah.
But even so, they don't know who Tom is.
Who's who
who
and
the
what's
boy,
what. Yeah.
What's cool, where to go get the hookup at, how you can go. Oh, they right here, they sip EBT for coals. if you can get soap and powder, you know, some it's supposed to be for food, but some
Right.
stores,
Yes, they
you can
will.
go get you
And that's something
else.
that you need to know.
Some
Yes.
tissue,
Yes.
and some this and some that.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to navigate your environment, then you're not going to be as successful as
Right.
other poor people.
Right.
So now you learn how to navigate foster care, not poverty.
Right. Right.
So we can do that, both of those, in a setting where we are the boss. White people don't need to be in charge of
At all.
our destiny. They don't
At
need
all.
to be in charge of what happens next to us, because
Exactly.
they don't understand the experience and they don't understand who we are, and we don't care what they have to say, but we
Right.
don't trust them.
Right.
You don't have to be a public figure. You don't have to be a social worker. You don't have to be a police officer. White look like government to us no matter what.
That's it.
Until you are guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
If you like.
Right.
Same way how we're guilty until proven innocent as black people as being
With
criminals.
them, yeah.
You're guilty as being a part of the government.
Right. Right.
Until
and we
innocent.
can't trust
When
you.
we find out that you're cool, you cool.
That's
just
it,
like
yeah.
once y'all find out that we didn't do the crime, we get free.
Then we good, right?
But it goes
exactly.
both ways.
Yes, it does.
We see you as government, which means you're trying to oppress us, use us, abuse us, take from us. If you give us something, it's for something.
Right.
What's
For your
the cost?
benefit, exactly.
What's it gonna cost me?
Exactly.
And what's bad about to happen to me?
Exactly.
What y'all about to do to me though?
So with this,
Anytime they've ever given us a break, it costs us something, or cost our community something, or we had to snitch on somebody or hurt somebody else to do it.
right, right,
So, absolutely, to your answer, I think that would be a perfect pilot.
awesome. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
And moving on to the next question. This is good information. This is good talk. This is what I wanted everyone to hear. This is what I myself have been trying to relay, but of course sometimes it's not that easy.
Well,
It just isn't.
yeah, and I think that sometimes you need people to endorse and validate truths.
Right.
And a lot of times when people start getting very, when people become validated, they start wanting to conform
Open
to
it
the
up like
others
flowers.
instead of, support and make sure we're validating the truth.
Right.
You know, I want to be grassroots until there ain't no more grass. You know, I don't want to be, just because I may be in a better situation doesn't mean that I don't still feel the pain and hurt of my brothers and sisters, or my nieces and nephews.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's weird.
Right.
So
Understandable, very. What changes surrounding Black mental health do you feel need immediate addressing?
Well, I guess just the idea that it's, I don't know if it's feminine or it's a weakness if you have mental illness. I think that the idea that we are all always mentally healthy is not reasonable. I think it's not reasonable if your mom dies or your baby brother gets murdered in front of you, or you lose your job and you're starving to death or you can't feed your family. I think it's unreasonable for you not to be sad.
Right.
And depression is just prolonged sadness. There's no intervention. Maybe you don't get the job after a year, or after mom dies, grandma dies, and your brother gets hurt too. Sometimes when we don't have any disruption in that suffering, which the diagnosis is not just being sad. Depression means it's all about time frame.
Right.
That means it's prolonged. Anything that you're feeling, whether it's anxiety, we all feel anxiety. We all have been depressed. We all have been angry. Anything that you can think of, and when you think about moderate to mild mental health disorders, all of us have experienced. It's just some of us have experienced it for too long, without intervention, without relief, without a break.
Right.
And that's what causes us to now become this new person who's just living within that depression. They're living within that anxiety, and now we're not functioning and reaching our full potential.
Okay.
Because we need a break. You can't just hurt without relief. And so to address that, sometimes having conversation with other people to help us work through that pain. Sometimes we do need medication to help. Just like when you bust your leg open, you don't be like, give it some time.
Yeah.
It'll
I'll wait till
away.
it heal, yeah.
No, sometimes you need to be
Go to the
stitched
doctor,
up.
yeah.
Might need some Tylenol.
Right.
Okay, so ibuprofen or something. I mean, it's up to you if you just want to shake it till it fall off. But sometimes we need, just like with physical pain, some intervention.
Right.
And that's because we're human, not because we're weak, not because we're gay or because we're
Incapable.
weird or we're crazy. We're not even crazy.
Right.
I mean, we have some people who actually have some psychotic disorders.
Right. But
That
again,
is
that
a
would
very small population of humans.
Yes.
And not just in Black. period. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
We may see the black people walking around talking to themselves. That's because they're in our community. You go to other communities, they're doing the same
They
thing.
are. But
they're
to their
clinics.
defense, that is still prolonged issues that they have not dealt with. No one's actually born psychotic.
Yeah.
So
maybe 1%.
Maybe.
There's some sociopaths out here. I don't know. Maybe killing cats at like 2. Anyways.
But I still think there's still something to be said about that. There's still
Maybe.
something at 2 that you're lacking, that you would be able to express yourself in that way at that age. That would be concerning for me.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm very concerned for a 2-year-old killing a cat.
But generally speaking, though, you know, the people that we're seeing that are, you know, having these delusions, that are having these, you know, severe depressed state where they can't get out of bed, they can't work, they don't want to hug their children, they don't want to, you know, do things that most people, you know, are motivated to do. It has to do with just you haven't given, you're not willing to, you know, stitch up your leg.
Right.
You're not open to the idea of, you know, giving yourself a release from it while you work through it. So the Tylenol doesn't mean that your leg isn't cut open.
Right.
It means that it's going to be a healing process, and I can help ease some of that with a little bit of this painkiller.
Right.
And so that's the same way with mental health. A lot of it is even with the medication, and you know, you got to shop around for therapists and different things, but the idea is that, you know, we got this going on. Mama ain't coming back.
Right.
Little brother, that happened. You know, whatever, that sexual abuse, that happened. You know, that physical abuse, that happened. You know, that happened.
Right.
It's not going away.
Right.
But if you are, but you don't have to bleed out.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You don't have to bleed out. You're important. You're a human being. What you're feeling is a natural response to that trauma. And you may see other people that look like they're just doing totally fine. Give them a few years.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to deal with your stuff if you're a human.
Yeah.
Okay? What we're saying is that what you went through is real. You're a human being. It's not your fault. And you're going to hurt, whether you want to suck it up and act like it's not there or not. If you love someone, it's unusual for you not to mourn them.
Right.
It's unusual for you not to grieve if someone betrayed your trust.
Right.
Especially a parental figure or even a boyfriend or anything, or if your child is taken away from you. Like, it's unusual for you not to have that loss. Not mourn. I would think you're more of a crazy person if you're not mourning these things. If you're not having anxiety after
you're not breaking
being
down
in certain situations that were scary for you as a child or growing up, or because you see so much stuff on the news or you hear something. If you don't have anxiety about certain things, something is wrong with you. That means that your amygdala don't work.
feel,
Because your amygdala should be fight or flight. It should be saying, oh, danger, danger, danger.
Yeah.
It's just when it's overreacting, now we can't get to work.
Right.
Now we can't do the things we need to do, right, to be successful. And so a lot of it is just about the biggest crisis in the black community is the lack of education about what is mental health. Like, what are you guys going to do to me? Are you guys going to strap me up in a white jacket and throw me up against the wall and bang my head against yourself? It's like, no. That's why.
Or you guys going to tell my story? Something going to happen to my family. We're going to lose this. We're going to lose that. Is this going to get taken away?
Yeah, Section 8 about to find out about this.
Right. Like in Precious,
wait.
that movie Precious, when the counselors wanted to help her. Monique didn't want the daughter to get the help because she was so concerned about
her benefits.
Yeah.
And more than that, you know, there for a long time, if you had certain mental health, or let's say you were receiving SSI because it's more severe, you know, prolonged disability mentally, then you weren't able to be employed.
Right.
Like, I need.
So it hinders you. You're like, wait a minute. On one hand, I need help.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not based on my self-efficacy. Can I do the job? It's you have this diagnosis done. It can't be a death sentence.
Right.
So some of it is us making sure that we're allowing people the space to be human. You know, to have their healing process. And if they're doing what they're supposed to do, if they're under the doctor's supervision and they're doing what they're supposed to do, leave them alone.
Right.
Some of us are not just allowing, but we are the reason that people are having such a hard time with this stigma and with getting help, because the consequences of getting the help are almost more severe than just hiding the secret that you're in pain. They'd rather just drink themselves away, use however much they need to use to make the feeling go away. Oh, they're still self-medicating. The pain doesn't go away just because you act like you don't feel it anymore. Oh, it's still there. People are self-medicating left and right. Every African American in the hood down there smoke weed. What you think you doing at 14? You got back pain? You don't.
You smoking weed.
You smoking weed because you're dealing with other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever loss, abandonment, you feel like you don't fit
Neglect,
in like other people.
You're not like you, brothers and sisters,
Daddy,
siblings
mommy,
getting more attention, all that.
Who knows?
Domestic violence in the home.
Things that the conversations could help validate. Things that people like us could come in and say, I'm pretty sure I went through that at 12 to 14.
Right.
And mine was worse than that. Let me share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Or yours might be worse than mine, but
let me tell you how we...
you're still going to be okay.
Yeah. And some of it is just validating people that they're not very unusual. But we suffer in isolation. Black people are very secretive about their suffering. They do not want people to know. You know, getting hot.
Yeah. I feel like
Where are we at on number?
I feel like I'm melting.
Okay.
Am I?
Do you want to transition to
Am I good?
No, you're not melting yet.
Okay. Not yet.
Your nose is a little shiny. Oh, no, the edges. Maybe we need to get a fence. Not a fence, an umbrella. Okay, but that was my one for that one.
Okay.
Do you want to finish the last one, or do you want to?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Can't see.
We'll
Move
have
that.
to edit out that too, by the way. Huh?
Scoot that back just
This?
a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So, last question, unless I come up with one more. How can mental health treatment be made acceptable in the Black community?
So I think what you're doing right now, giving people more information about what that would look like and what are the types of things that are, are considered mental illness, anxiety, depression when it's prolonged for too long and it's stopping you from being able to do the things you normally do or the things you want to do. Giving people that information, like, oh no, it's not just all crazy people. No, it's not.
Right.
I buried my mom a little while ago and that wasn't easy for me. And it would have been unusual if I didn't mourn her.
Right.
Given our history. And I think that if we have more people that we idolize, and that we look up to who are receiving mental services or health services, share those stories and normalize them, not just after 5 years after the fact. Everyone want to come out, Ariana Grande. When I was 10 years ago, I suffered with depression. It's like, why you can't
We need it now.
We want to go.
Yeah.
We want to be present.
Right.
Now you look all shiny again.
Yeah.
Like, we want to see you when you're not shiny.
Right.
Be human.
Right.
Because we want to be like you. We look up to you. So we need people that we are, dressing up for the cookout looking like to be human
to
too.
Understand. Exactly.
We don't want to just keep hearing about all the people who are dying from overdosing on lean. We don't want to just hear about all the people who are dying. Why are they overdosing on lean?
Right.
Okay, let's get a little bit more into why, what's that basketball player who was in the black one, Khloe Kardashian's ex?
Tristan Thompson.
No, her ex-husband. One that was on drugs.
Lamar Odom.
Yeah, so they talk about him being on drugs and how he was a terrible person, but they never talk about why he started using drugs. To this day, I don't know what was going on for him, why he was using.
Well, he did mention that his history with his dad was not the best. He always wanted a relationship. Yes, it's that trauma that he always wanted a relationship with his dad. And so, as many times as we've said here, or as you've said here, that all relates back to that.
But listen to the fact that I know he was on drugs.
Right. Right.
And I know that he was in a mental institution.
Right.
And a substance program. But I don't know that part.
Right.
You got a little more into it.
Yeah.
But I know the highlights. I don't even watch TV.
Yeah.
So I know what people are saying,
Yeah.
what the word of mouth is.
Right.
And the message that got across was that he was a crackhead. Not that he's still dealing with trauma of abandonment from his dad. Got all these. No, I'm not hearing that.
No.
He's crackhead.
Yeah, it's just straight up like
Son,
that's
all I'm
it.
seeing is pictures of
Wynn
crackhead.
spent $75,000 and nobody else saw.
And he disappeared, abandoned his thing, and what about him?
But the person that's healing sees that part.
And then that makes us not want to be like Lamar Odom.
Yeah, no, you can't be like him.
Because guess what? If he never went to a program, we would never found out he was a bum.
Exactly. So then, do we want to be like Lamar Odom or do we not want to be like Lamar Odom?
We need everyone who's, while they're dealing through stuff, to normalize getting help.
Right.
And when we get help, that's okay.
Right.
And it's not okay not to get help. How about that?
Exactly.
We need to reframe that idea that it's not okay to get help. If you're not getting help, you can't come over my house. Because at least the thing about me as a professional, if I know something just happened that's very traumatic, I'm going to be checking in on you.
Yeah.
What's going on? What are you doing about that? And you be like, nothing? Oh, well, honey, you
don't come over
about
here.
to be blowing up nothing.
Yeah, because you might, something might trigger you.
See, I'm the opposite.
Exactly.
I'm going to judge you for not getting help. And you won't be around my little kids and stuff. Because I understand that certain things hurt.
Yeah.
So if you come over my house and you I'll keep using the leg, but arm, whatever part, and you're bleeding out, you're not just going to sit on the couch.
You can't come over here,
Go to Take care of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go take care of that.
Yeah.
And then you can come back while it's healing, but I better see some stitches. You about to just
a
leak
cast
out.
or something.
People will come over and some of that cursing you out and that toxicity, that's them bleeding out on you.
Yeah.
You got to think of it that way. People who come over, they're always in a rage. They're always just negative. They call them negative Nancy and this and that. Don't call, they're bleeding out pain.
Right.
Toxicity pours out. That it manifests. That anger, that guilt, that frustration, it pours all over the place. It hurts everybody.
It does.
So they need help. They don't need to be negative Nancy and shamed and blamed. They need help. You refer them to help. You know what you got to deal with them because, like I said, you can't come up here.
Right. Right.
But if you're working on it, you can come over and we can
talk
to
about
have
it.
the conversation about it.
Exactly.
But we allow each other just to bleed out all over us, ruin us. You know, gotta see something wrong with us, and we don't hold people accountable, make them deal with their stuff.
Right.
That's the problem. That's what needs to be addressed. Don't bleed on my couch.
All right. Not on this couch, not on that
Get
couch.
Some stitches.
Get some stitches.
And then we can
don't go bleed on her couch.
And I don't care how
couch.
long it takes for you to heal.
Yeah.
Or if you're open back up, you gotta go back and get another stitch. You know, I had to do that with my C-section. But you know, you have to be seeking help. Yeah. It's not acceptable to just suffer because you're going to hurt everyone around you. Hurt people. Right. So I know you being on here, you're going to be toxic to me and my children and everyone I'm around.
Right.
Go get help.
Get help.
But thank you for the opportunity to, share all this. I have all these things inside of me.
We know. And I love all these things inside of you. That's why you're the perfect person to let these things out.
Yeah, good. And I hope that you do open a program. I'll help you with that.
Check in my strong friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Stop it.
You're so